Welcome to the TicketSource Podcast, the podcast brought to you by TicketSource, the free online event ticketing system. At TicketSource, we provide the easy-to-use system to sell your events tickets online and in-house without the fuss or stress. Whether you offer allocated seating or general admission tickets, our system gives you complete control of all aspects of your events listings online 24/7. You can try our system free at ticketsource.co.uk. The aim of the podcast today is to offer up some insight, information, and inspiration regarding the running and organisation of community events. We achieve this by talking to influential individuals from the event industry across the UK. If you'd like to be notified about new podcast releases, then be sure to hit the subscribe button below. And if you take any value from this podcast, please be sure to give us the thumbs up or leave us a review. I'm Terry Rosamond, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Okay, we're ready. So welcome, Amy Brooks, to the TicketSource Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about you and your involvement with the Cardiff Open Air Festival, right? So if you could firstly introduce yourself and explain what you and your event do.
Hi, like you said, my name is Amy Brooks, and I'm a member of the Everyman Theatre Company board, and also a member of the Cardiff Open Air Theatre Festival Committee, which is part of and produced by Everyman Theatre Company Cardiff. The event is, like it says on the tin, an open air theatre event, which has been running for nearly 40 years. Next year will be our 40th festival. It started off in Dufferin Gardens in the Vale of Glamorgan, just outside Cardiff, and started off as a one event theatre festival. We opened with just a Shakespeare production, and then we added a family theatre production to run alongside that in the daytime, and then we moved to Sophia Gardens, the Museum of Welsh Life, just outside Cardiff, where a musical event was added to the festival. And then nearly 10 years ago, we upped sticks from Sophia Gardens and moved to, from St Fagans, and moved to our current home, Sophia Gardens, in the very heart of Cardiff, just near Cardiff Castle. And since we've been at Sophia Gardens, the festival has continued to organically expand. We added what we term the light entertainment category, which is kind of like a light comedy play. For the last 10 years, we've been doing in that category very well-known British television sitcoms that are transferable to the stage. So we've done Fawlty Towers, Blackadder, Hello, Dad's Army, Vicar of Dibley, Heidi High, all these well-known BBC television sitcoms, and they go down a storm. And actually this year, in 2022, we're finishing our Blackadder journey. We've done number 2, the Elizabethan, we've done the 3rd, the Restoration, and now we're doing Blackadder Goes Forth to sort of finish that saga. And in addition to those 4 categories, so that being a Shakespeare production, a family show, a musical, and a light entertainment, we now also offer 5 one-night sort of one-off events. We do a film screening, which is really popular. We've done loads of those in the past. We've screened things like Sing Along Grease, Sing Along Rocky Horror Show. This year we're screening the film Pride, the Welsh miners' story, and that's in association with Pride Cymru. We have a choirs evening where we have 2 choirs coming along. We have Everyman Youth Theatre perform the Shakespeare comedy of Errors. We have one night only of Dylan Thomas's Under Milk Wood. And we have, what's our 5th one-nighter? Well, my mind's gone blank. And we have 5 one-night events in addition. So we now have at the festival 9 different events to go and see. So we've gone from 1 to 9. So it's become a really large concern. It's become, I think it is of its kind, as in an open air festival that has to be constructed and erected by ourselves only days before it begins and run by volunteers. It's the largest of its kind in the UK. So it's it's something that Everyman Theatre are really proud of, and something that I think that the city of Cardiff should be proud of, that what it has.
Yeah, definitely. I've been myself. I went a couple of years ago when you did Dad's Army, and I thought it was fantastic. I'd never experienced something like that before, so it's really good. And I'm looking forward to coming and seeing Blackadder this summer as well.
Oh, it's
I'll be
going to
there.
be brilliant. It's a fantastic cast, and we've reunited the chap Simon West, who directed the other Blackadders, with the actor who played Blackadder in Blackadder 2 and Blackadder 3. We've reunited the team, and they're sort of coming back together for one last hurrah to finish the Blackadder saga, and a slightly more poignant one this year, in so much as that I think most people realise that Blackadder Goes Forth ends on a on that poignant, sad note of them going over the top. Of course, when we commissioned and decided to do Blackadder Goes Forth about 2.5 years ago, because of the COVID situation, because of course this was meant to take place in 2020, so this play was commissioned in 2019. We then didn't know that we would be doing a play about a war in Europe when there would be a war in Europe.
No, who would have thought it?
Yeah. And so our opening Friday night for that is a charity evening in partnership with the Welsh Refugee Council, focusing on the devastating effect that war can have on civilians and the creation of refugees. Yeah. So we're really proud and pleased to be partnering with them and highlighting a very worthwhile cause and raising funds for them.
Yeah, it's nice how you can tie it into something current as well, so that's nice.
Actually, one of the things we've been thrilled with TicketSource for our festival is that we've been very easily allowed to incorporate people making donations to our partnership charity this year, the Welsh Refugee Council, so that when they go online and book their tickets, it's on that home ticket selection page that they can click to make a donation, which tons of people already have. So we'll still be rattling buckets and all the rest of it at the festival in itself, but it's just so easy for people to be able to make a donation whilst they're already there purchasing their tickets. It's literally the click of a button.
Yeah, definitely.
They may not have cash on the evening to donate. So that's one of the brilliant things that TicketSource offers is how quick and easy that was to set up.
Yeah, but brilliant. Well, you mentioned that most of the people are volunteers. So how is it? Does it work out? How are the people? How is it split from actors? Are they paid actors?
So it's
volunteers?
Really unique setup. Everyman Theatre Company is a community amateur theatre company in Cardiff, and it's been running for nearly 80 years. We are one of the longest running theatre companies in the UK. And it is an amateur company, but the festival is a slightly separate, slightly more unique concern in that all of our directors are designers, that's set and costume. Our production team on site, the people who actually run the theatre, so our lighting, our sound, they are all paid professionals. And where we can, they're homegrown paid professionals to support local talent. And the actors themselves, everyone who appears on stage, is officially amateur in that they are not paid for their performance and time, though many of them are professional performers, if that makes sense. They're just not paid for this.
Right, okay.
But I mean, we've done productions in the past, for example, where we've had, for example, a cast of 8 or 9, and we've worked out that 7 of them are professional performers. They just they've either been involved in the festival in years gone by and have come back to sort of do another one final performance for us, or because it's a particular role or a particular production they just really wanted to be part of and sort of did it gratis as a, because they just really wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the performance side of things. And all the other people who work at the festival and for the festival, that's the committee who put the festival on and choose, select the productions, secure the license agreements, the people who do all the marketing, the people who do all the contracts, anything like that. We're all volunteers. And we have then, that runs throughout the year, and then on site during the 5 to 6 weeks run of the festival itself, we have a huge team of volunteers running all the backstage crew for each production, the bar team, because we run our own on-site bar at the festival, which is open about an hour and a half before each production starts. And we have a lovely courtyard setting there where the audience can come and soak up the atmosphere of the festival and enjoy a couple of drinks and some food and get together with friends before the festival starts. But yeah, all of our bar team, all of our front of house, everybody is a volunteer. And yeah, and they keep coming back. So we must be doing something right.
That's good, yeah. So what are you doing? I mean, one, how are you sourcing these volunteers? Because obviously volunteers are very valuable resource.
Yeah.
How do you source them, and how do you keep them coming back? What kind of benefits or offers do you give them?
They're sourced through, the vast majority of them are Everyman Theatre Company members. So they're people who may be a member throughout the year and may not be taking part in that particular production. And so they're able to come along. I mean, the company has nearly 200 members in itself. So, for example, if you consider when Blackadder is on and there's a cast of, I think it's about 12, that's a lot of members not on stage. So we utilise them in that respect. They may be friends and family of people who were involved in the festival. So, for example, if you're on stage, you may bring along your spouse or your family to help as a volunteer during the festival, because otherwise you wouldn't see them for the best part of a fortnight. And we also had, for example, last week we had our festival company meeting where we advertised and market that we're all getting together, and that wasn't just for people taking part directly in a production, but anybody that was interested in volunteering. And we welcome them to come along, and we have a sort of an hour and a half's afternoon where we all get together and have a bit of something to eat and drink, and we explain what volunteer roles are available and how they can do it and how they can contact us. And then we have a front of house manager, a bar manager, a volunteers manager, and they are in charge of coordinating this mammoth task of making sure that there are sufficient numbers of volunteers on site every night so that the festival can run as smoothly as it runs. And the way we retain them, to answer sort of the second half of the question, is the main thing we do for them is if you do front of house for us as a volunteer, you can then go and see that show that evening for free. And that's the biggest sweetener. So we say, right, you come along and you're doing front of house for Little Shop of Horrors, our musical this year. Once all the house is in and seated and safe and we're just about to start, then you can take your seat and you watch that performance for free. But we attempt and I think successfully create a really fun environment where we are a supported team, and there's a lot of camaraderie and fun on site, and therefore we've had people come along on their first night really nervous to work behind a bar. They may have said, "Oh, worked behind a bar before," like, it's okay, you don't need to pull any pints because we don't have anything on draft because it takes too long because we're trying to serve people really quickly. And then people go, "I really, really enjoyed that. That was brilliant." It was, like the interval, for example, is an extremely intense 20 minutes, but it is just 20 minutes and then you're done. And they go, "Oh, golly, that was really, really intense. That was really bonkers, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's a really nice way to meet the audience. It was really good fun. It was really, and then people come back year after year to do it and say, "Oh no, it's great fun. I loved it." They make good friends. And that because we use volunteers and therefore don't need to pay bar staff, etc., it's reflected in our ticket price. That we try to maintain an accessible ticket price for people, that they can come along and see a musical of West End standards with professionally trained singers and a professional director and musical director of an extremely high quality, but it's at the fraction of the price that they would pay in either the New Theatre or the Millennium Centre.
Yeah, it just goes to show how important volunteers are for something like this. Yeah, the lifeblood.
Absolutely. And we say every year at the end of the festival and the festival company meeting, yes, the people on stage are important and they provide the actual theatre, and ultimately this is a theatre festival, and so obviously they're important. But none of this would happen if it weren't for people giving of their time freely and joining our community as a volunteer. So it's, they're not just important, they're essential.
Yes, exactly.
It really is, that like that.
So how do you come up with the program? Do you have a committee that sort of throw names in the hat of what you want to do, and how then is it chosen what the eventual program would look like?
That's pretty much, you sort of nailed it there. We have the committee make suggestions within a like I said, we have categories. We do a Shakespeare play, we do a musical, we would never do, 4 musicals as our programme. We always have one of each category. The idea being that it's a very different demographic of people who would attend a Shakespeare play compared to who would attend a musical, compared to who would attend a light entertainment production, and again, compared to who would go and see a family show. So we have one of each category, and the committee who were involved in all aspects of putting on the festival kind of throw production titles in the hat. We then come up with a shortlist, and first and foremost, we ascertain if they are available from a license perspective, because there's no point considering it any further than that if we physically can't put it on. So we apply for licensing and sort of see if things are available. And then we consider not just each individual show, whether that would work, but whether it would work as a whole programme. Because we wouldn't, for example, want 2 productions that were too similar that may clash. For example, we would never do Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew alongside a musical Kiss Me Kate. It's the same story. So that would be crazy, because we think, well, hang on a second, that's the same play, but one's with music and one's not. That wouldn't work. So we always consider the whole programme, and then the final sort of decision-making process is it goes to the Everyman board, who are democratically voted as trustees of the company, and the board vote for what they would like to be done. And then once the production titles are selected, we then select a director to direct that piece. We have a sort of rolling programme of professional directors, but we have used a couple of professional directors now for a number of years, who have been affiliated with the festival for a long time and who are popular both with audiences and with the membership. And they know the festival very well, because it's a very unique and different directing setup. The performance space itself is quite unlike many others. And so having a bit of expertise and knowledge and experience from our directors is worth its weight in gold.
So when you pick the shows that you want to do, that you decided on the shows, what's the next process? So you pick the director. When do you start rehearsing, and how long does it take to hone the skills and the production?
So we once the program is set up and the directors are chosen, we kind of announce what we're doing in about November, December. And then in January, we have something called a director's pitch night, where the 3 main directors of the 3 main long run shows that we do at the festival, that's the Shakespeare, the musical, and the light entertainment category. The 3 directors will then do an evening to all of our membership, but actually it's a complete open, inclusive invitation. Anybody can come along, where they explain their thoughts and their vision for the piece. I mean, some of those are very obvious. Like, for example, you said, excuse me, you said you came to see Dad's Army. Well, the director of Dad's Army wasn't going to set that in a different time or place. It was always going to be in Wilmington-on-Sea in the early 1940s, because that's where and when Dad's Army is set. But sometimes when we do, for example, a Shakespeare production, we may do a far more contemporary version, and it may be set somewhere different and set in a different time. For example, we did a fabulous Merchant of Venice a few years ago, which, because of the kind of the money and the greed of Merchant of Venice, we decided to set it very yuppie business London 1980s. And by the end of February, we have our casts. Our auditions are always advertised and open. You don't have to be a member to audition. Anybody can audition, and they are all they're all done with a board member of Everyman Theatre present. So it is a completely consistent and fair process. And then, everything is cast. We aim to get it cast before we open the box office, which is historically on the 1st of March. So our box office opens on St David's Day, being the biggest open-air theatre festival in Wales. We go for St David's Day. And by then, everything's cast. And then depending on what production you're in and how much rehearsal that takes, sometimes rehearsals do begin as early as March. Although usually it's around May. Like, for example, Blackadder this year goes 4th and 12th night. They kicked off their rehearsals last week, the first week of May. And then the first production is on, begins on the 23rd of June this year. So that's when we kick things off, although we start setting up the site about a week before. We have about a week to turn a totally blank field into a theatre. So that's the full 400-seater stand, the full stage, the bar, the tents, the toilet, the backstage areas, everything. It is a mammoth task, and it's a little bit like Challenge Annika is happening down at Sophia Gardens, because they need to get that site ready for Blackadder to do their first technical dress basically within about 3 days. So it's a little bit like, well, I said Challenge Annika, that might be a bit too old for some people. So say DIY SOS would be be a more recent analogy. It is just all hands to the pump, and as many people get down there and volunteer as possible and get this site set up for the festival.
Talk to me about promotion then. So what sort of strategy do you employ to get this, get the word out there and sell the tickets?
So we have a small marketing team who all we firstly attack it from a targeted approach, in that we initially target previous attendees. So rather than just randomly telling everybody that this festival is happening, we all agreed that telling people who have previously attended an open-air theatre festival, our open-air theatre festival, are far more likely to re-attend our open-air theatre festival than just any Joe Bloggs. So with that in mind, and with trying to reward their loyalty, we have a priority booking scheme, which we've run for quite a few years. So the box office opens on the 1st of March to everybody, and everybody can book from the 1st of March, whether you've attended before or not. But those previous attendees get 20% off for the first 2 months. So from the 1st of March to the 30th of April, they have a discount code which is sent to them. They're sent their discount code, and they can book online or via phoning the TicketSource box office line, use their code and get 20% off. And that's been a huge success. I mean, that code is that priority booking time has only just expired last week, and we've sold nearly 4,000 tickets.
Oh, wow.
So people wanting that's just us telling people who've been before, we're back, this is what we're doing this year. We use social media as well, quite extensively, both. I mean, that's, as you know, like you'd have to be one of our followers of one of our pages, but our membership and through our, we do sponsored posts as well, does get the word out an awful lot. One of the benefits of using the TicketSource system is that when people book, they can inform us how they heard about the festival, which is invaluable for us for future years to decide how we will market it. And social media always ranks highly on that. So we're able to reflectively look back and say, right, how did people know this was happening? Okay, let's have a look. And the priority booking, communication and social media are always two big hitters. They do an awful lot for us. And then once that specifically very targeted campaign is done at the beginning, we then go more blanket, just try and tell as many people in Cardiff and the surrounding areas that this is happening. So we've got, for example, this year we have radio adverts booked. We have close links with Cardiff Council because, of course, we're on their site. Sophia Gardens is, owned by Cardiff County Council, so we work closely with them that we can use all their parks for advertising. So we have permission to put banners around all of the parks in Cardiff, so Roath Park, Thompson's Park, Victoria Park, all the big ones that are packed during the weekends and after school. That really particularly helps our family show for obvious reasons, because you get parents and kids, thousands, churning through them every weekend, and we have huge adverts there. So that is another big help. And this year as well, we've decided that we've always printed off tens of thousands of leaflets every year, and we used to use leaflet stands, but we increasingly felt that perhaps if you were just walking through a supermarket, that you wouldn't necessarily go to the stand to pick it up. Is that effective? And this year, for the first year, we've decided to use to scrap that, and we've decided to have a door-to-door leaflet drop. So we've paid a company to do leaflet drops around most of Cardiff. So that's about 42,000 houses. Because we all thought that if a leaflet physically lands on your doorstep and it's in your house, then you are more likely to, respond to that than just if you walk past it in Tesco. And another fabulous thing about the TicketSource system is that when you're looking at sales reports as an event organizer, it's very easy to make yearly comparisons to other years. So, for example, last week, I was able to look at how many tickets we sold in the first week of May in 2019 and 2017, 2016, and compared it with this year when we did the leaflet drop starting in May. And it was a significant increase. So as a marketeer, I was able to look at the system, get the statistics that were relevant, and then go, this specific marketing tool is working.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you might have, your ticket sales may increase, but you need to know what made them increase. You need, we need to know. So we've all put it this way: we've already decided we'll do this again next year. It worked. We know it worked.
Yeah, and where can people purchase tickets? So, I mean, obviously online with TicketSource, but do you have any physical spots as well?
So yeah, it is all online or via telephone box office. But I think that in the, with the iPhone generation addicted to devices, it is, people can access tickets so easily and quickly that, and again, like things like with our social media, the person that runs our social media account makes it as easy as possible for people to buy tickets. That the ticket link for the show that she's particularly promoting on that post, the link is put on the post. so we we make it as easy for our customers as we possibly can. I do the ticketing inquiries, and this year, 2.5 months in, I'm yet to have one person contact me and say, how do I book tickets?
Yes.
So people seem to be able to find out how to do it.
Yeah, it makes it nice and easy and convenient for people, doesn't it? It's at the touch of a button, you can get to the sales page and start purchasing. There's no need to go out and visit a bricks and mortar location.
Exactly.
Amy, thank you very much for your time. That's all the questions I've got for you today.
Thank you very much.
I thought it was really great, and I think people take a lot of inspiration from it. So yeah, thank you for your time, and good luck with the festival.
Thank you very much. Yes, I hope to see you there.
Thank you very much for your time, and we will catch you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Don't forget, if you'd like to sell your events tickets online and in-house without the stress or fuss, then please head to the TicketSource website, where you can try out our easy-to-use system for free under no obligation today.